everyone, this is GWiz, and in this video I'm going to be testing a noob account with Blox Fruits and directly comparing melee and sword to show that they have the exact same damage output at first when sword is at a low level. When you're using noob items, when you're using low level items, melee and sword does the exact same amount of damage. If not, melee does more damage at first because it has a higher rate of attack, and the weapons that you get later are able to match melee and exceed that attack power eventually. So that is why I was saying that it's probably really common to start with melee and then level the sword skill as an option, and this is actually probably a good way to build the character without having to reset your stats. You can keep some melee invested because melee is going to increase your stamina, as you might have noticed, and it also can be useful in combat because dashing and jumping are really good for evading damage. I can also see that potentially being an attack style, since you can switch weapons from melee to sword, and you can utilize the special attack more often. And for those that prefer special attacks, it might be ideal to have balanced stats. But for this particular account, my goal isn't necessarily to be the most efficient fighter. It is to simply find out how exactly the damage output works in Blox Fruits between the melee and the sword skill. So in this video, you're just taking a look to see what my damage output is. Now I know it's in 2 times speed, but as you can see, once I purchased the katana, we can start seeing the damage output compared to the melee that I was just doing. So for this part, you'll notice that when I hit with a katana, it's actually doing less damage than my melee, and that's because I basically just got the katana, and I'm now investing points into it in order to progress. So at level 6, I've already leveled up 5 times. I'd have to level up another 5 times in order to have equal stats between sword and melee. And so here I am using the sword to level up, defeat bandits with the quest to get extra experience and also gold. And there we go. Earned gold, earned experience, level up twice. Totally worth it. So you'll notice that my katana skill is also leveling up. And then we just go back, start the quests over again, continue attacking bandits, and leveling up that sword skill until it is exactly even with the melee. Alright, here we go. Mastery level 5. My melee mastery is only level 5 at this point, so the katana mastery actually goes up a bit faster than the melee mastery. Not sure why, but apparently that's what it is. I'm fighting the same enemies, and the katana mastery is going up faster. It could also be because it takes more in order to level up my character. So I guess that makes sense. They in a sense go up at the same rate in that case. But yeah. Okay, so finally, level 10, 6 mastery of katana. The stats are almost the same, and as you can see, the damage output that I'm doing is about 12.9. Melee is doing about 13.8 right now. So I'm only 3 points away from bringing my damage output from 12.9 to 13.8. That takes that one damage, that one extra damage is 3 points invested So in order to do 1 extra damage, you need 3 points invested in a particular skill in order to have it do about 0.9 more damage for that particular skill. So it's close to 1. That's why I just say 1. In order to do 1 more damage, you need 3 points invested. And that's about right. It's probably more like, 0.9, but that's pretty close for the most part. To recognize that you need a lot of points invested in order to increase the amount of damage that you're able to do. So in theory, if you want to be able to do 150 damage, then you need to invest 450 points into that stat, in theory, because it's the amount of points that you do divided by 3 that increases the amount of damage that you do. So in order to be able to deal the desired amount of damage, then at least for melee anyway, it's like a third of whatever the stats are. That means that my melee attacks with 180 points is going to do about 60 damage. But you saw in my earlier video that melee is actually also able to do, with the sword anyway, sword is able to do up to 90 damage using that mace. So the special attacks deal a little bit more damage with sword because they're a heavier blow. And I suppose that makes sense, but the regular melee attacks are doing the same as the melee, which is about 60 points of damage. But I think that 90 points of damage is pretty good. And also the special attack on that mace is, in my opinion, better than the melee skills, because you have a distance attack, for one special attack, and the other special attack is just like this super deadly ground pound. And it deals more damage with sword special attacks than with melee. Not that melee isn't okay. I mean, it still does a basic amount of damage. But the main aspect of melee is travel, in my opinion. But if you want damage output, sword is going to be better in the long run, because you're going to get better items that can deal more special attack damage than melee. Just something I noticed. And also Blox Fruits. Because they're so expensive to get in the beginning, I can only imagine how much more powerful Blox Fruits actually are compared to sword for later on. But as you can see here, when I practice using melee and sword, I finally have equal stats over here. So that's how you can compare sword and melee being about the same at first, and then sword getting better later. In this video, you're also seeing how to get to the jungle area where the monkeys are, the gorillas, and the Gorilla King. Some people might want to travel to the jungle later, so you can use this video as a reference. Anyway, like, subscribe if this was helpful, and take care.